The other day we had heard that there was going to be a demonstration in Sarasota, and my girlfriend and I had decided we were going to go and show our support. But then Sunday morning we heard that there was actually a white supremacist who was going to demonstrate on the corner right near our house. I'm not historically one who's a big protester. I've been to many of them. I've protested the Iraq War. I'm not a big flag waver. I'm not big at chanting. I generally try to photograph the signs that people have and share them with the rest of the world, because I want the message to be able to resonate beyond just this particular event. And so as it turned out, what was being organized on this corner right by my house was actually a Black Lives Matter protest.
Anybody who's going to join us, you want to join us right now?
What happened to George Floyd was a tragedy. What happened to so many young black men and women who have been killed by police officers who aren't given the courage that they need when they're given their uniforms. So we went to that, and there started, I guess, maybe in the first hour when we started, there's maybe 50 people or so who started along that. The majority of them were white, and we marched together. There was one woman from Black Lives Matter who led the thing and told the police who were there. She said, we don't need you here. We don't need you to protect us. We need you to protect us when your partners and your fellow boys in blue were killing us and putting their knees on our necks and intimidating us and that kind of thing. That's when we needed the help of the police. And she said, for this protest, we didn't need you.
I was invited out here today to stand for what's right. I want to make something clear though. Right at the police department, I'm not your friend. We don't need your protection. We needed your protection when you harass and you murder people that look like you. That being said, let's go.
So we followed her, and we walked up the street in Bradenton and kind of shut down the roads and shut down a few intersections, and went to the courthouse, and there was a bit of a gathering there, and a few people had some choice words to say about why they were really protesting. And me, I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm not black, so I've never had to suffer the injustices that the African American community has, or Jamaican American community, or Puerto Rican American community, or any other community that doesn't have skin as fair as mine. And even though I was married to an African American woman for a few years, I still can't understand it. But I also understand how clueless a lot of us are. And if you don't have black skin and you're getting angry at black people for protesting right now, I encourage you to try to look up the word empathy. Find out what that means. What does it mean to understand another person? And try to understand what African Americans have gone through historically.
I'm standing next to a mother who lost her son due to police brutality. And you want to show up and say you're here to protect me? You're not here to protect me.
Hello. Thank you for coming out. My son's name is Rodney Mitchell, who was killed execution style 6 months after graduating college 7 years ago. And yet they say for me to be peaceful. It wasn't peaceful when they shot him in his head for not having his seatbelt on. How peaceful was that?
Manatee County and Sarasota County have a bunch of racist, abusive, harassing police officers on their force.
Officer Piper?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
On their force.
Don't know him.
For the protests that we saw, it was peaceful in that there wasn't any violence, but you could feel in people's hearts, there's not peace. There's not peace when you are afraid you could be murdered for no reason. And that's unfortunately what African Americans face here. That's what Black lives face here every day. I at least recognize where people like me have participated in these injustices before. And I want to be one of those men who helps to rectify that. True Americans are going to strive to understand each other. At the times that I have felt proud about being an American, it is when we have stood shoulder to shoulder. Doesn't matter the color of our skin, doesn't matter our creeds or anything. It is when we stand together and we support each other and we strive to understand each other. When that happens, I'll be proud to be an American. Today, not so much. Not so much. Not when I listen to anything that the person that we elected to office is saying. Sorry, can't be proud of this. I can't be. But when I see these Americans getting out there, shutting streets down, I am very proud to stand in the gap for them, stand between them and the police, and give them their opportunity to protest, because they have the right to, and they have the necessity to. Because the African American community has been really, really treated poorly by America. And we, as white folk, need to understand that, and we need to stand in the gap for them.
Because it ain't just a black thing. When I look around and I see every skin color there is to be, I know it ain't about a black thing. So let us be clear, concise, and precise while we're here today. It ain't all about George Floyd, because there are many George Floyd. When I look and I think about Rodney Mitchell, when I think about Corey Mobley, come on, and Stackhouse. These young men have died at the hands of law enforcement, and nobody ever gave answers to why it had happened. And so we got a reason to be mad. They think it's just about what's going on with George Floyd. It's a pot that's been brewing for a long time. Yes. And so when we hear about George Floyd, and we hear about the young man in Georgia, all it does is boils the pot even more. There's a pot boiling in Manatee County. There's a pot boiling in Sarasota County.
I am a nurse. Do you hear me? I can draw everybody's blood out here, and the blood will be red. You make the choice to be a cop. I was born black. I don't got no choice. I don't have any choice in that. Just because my skin is black doesn't mean I'm a threat. I've done more work in this community and probably for your people than you have ever done. I was the ashes of your grandmammas and grandpappys because you wouldn't. Understand me when I tell you that. Y'all call lust in them to do that type of shit. You can't even stop.
We're here because we're tired. We're sick and tired, and we want to let you know that enough is enough. I said enough is enough. I said enough is enough.
And we have to start understanding one another, because we have leadership right now that doesn't understand anything. Nothing.
It ain't just law enforcement, it's in our education system. I read $500 billion was given to corporation, and they gave you $1,200 and told you to try to make your rent and pay your bills with that.
Right.
You don't know what looting is.
Given the leadership that is so often seen in America today, it's very hard for me to be proud to be an American. But going out there, standing in the gap for people and protecting their right to protest, that made me proud that I was able to do that, and that there were other Americans, white and black, who came together. And by the time this protest we had 3 hours later was finished, we had tripled the number of people that were involved with it. And it always remained peaceful because there was no violence. However, there wasn't peace in people's hearts, because there can't be when one of yours is murdered in pretty cold blood. And one of the requests that I heard put out the other day, that if you are a police officer and you are wearing one of these uniforms and have taken a pledge to protect the people of America, and you don't have a problem with what happened to George Floyd, I beseech you, take off your costume, take off your badge, do not serve in law enforcement, find another job. You don't have what it takes to do this. If you cannot protect all the citizens equally, regardless of their skin color, you're not equipped to do that job. My hope is that law enforcement agencies all over the country and all over the world start teaching their law enforcement officers about what it is like to live as a minority. Start teaching them about human beings and nonviolent communication. It's important. I know that these guys are able to carry guns, and if they're like our president, they like to beat their chests and act all tough and force people to do things. But just because you have force doesn't mean you have power. And right now, there's a lot of deadly force at play, but it's not by powerful people. It's by weak people, pathetic people, cowardly people. Currently, that seems to be what's emanating from the White House. But we, as Americans and as human beings, are better than that. We're much better than that. I can't really speak for Amerigo Vespucci, the person we were named for, so I don't really know, and I'm not really concerned about being a proud American. I don't care about him. I care about being a good human being. And we, as a people, can be much, much better.
Good afternoon. We might be small, but we're powerful, right?
And I know one thing, I am tired. I've been fighting since I was 12 years of age. I marched here with Deacon Green to the water fountain here. I marched over on night to integrate the Palestinians. Yes, I will march. Anybody can tell me. I don't care which way the wind blows. I'm going to march for the right of whoever. I'll march for the white, I'll march for the Hispanic, and I'm definitely going to march for the black.
We're going to pray. We're going to pray. We're going to ask everyone that can, who is able to take a knee. We're going to do this for 9 minutes.